Hey guys, Technomentary with a video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 common mistakes that you might be making while using an iPhone. Now, these 5 common mistakes is something that you want to avoid, especially if you're using an iPhone, any Apple iOS devices, and in the long run, it could be problematic for you. So let's dive into it. The first mistake is actually utilizing unbranded charging cable. Now that's really common, especially if your original cable breaks and you don't want to pay for a replacement because they're kind of expensive and you're not going with the branded one or a licensed one. Do recommend using branded, or if you can with the generic. Do not use any sort of generic one. Use the Apple one, as it will prolong your battery life and any sort of issues that could cause. We've seen with some of the generic cheap ones that you even get, ones that aren't branded, could possibly even cause harm than do good for you. It might be cheap to get, but if you're making an expensive purchase or investment on an iPhone, of course you're paying a lot of money. Why go with something cheap that you can't trust? Because sometimes if the chargers are not built well, they could potentially damage your phone, battery, and much more as well. So use, of course, Apple first branded, first go-to, and if you can't get one, of course, get a branded one. There's pretty much some very good branded one as well out there on the market. So that's going to be number 5. Number 4 is going to be around battery as well. This is a common one that we see. Again, in the battery section, you'll know that if you go to battery health, there is a setting called optimized battery charging. So what happens is, with this setting on, Apple phones will usually start reducing charging after it goes past 80 to let the battery rest or not overload with charge to prolong the battery life. You want to make sure this setting is turned on, and if for some reason it's turned off because you think you can get charged to 100% quicker, turn it back on, because this is important to have on. Sometimes even a software update can turn this off, or if you turned it off somehow, go ahead, turn that on. The next thing that you want to avoid, number 3, is going to be around app permissions. So as you can see here, we have multiple apps here. Now, whenever you download an app from the App Store, it's going to ask for access like things like photos, your mic, your camera, and much more, essentially giving it permission to access that without you realizing it. And it's good to always check those settings to see which app have access to that. To do that, you want to go into settings, and once you can go settings, you want to go down to privacy. Now in privacy, you'll notice here multiple things here. First thing to notice is location services. Here you'll see apps that will have location services on, so make sure you review that. Other apps, as you can see here, like camera here, for example, doesn't have it. Maps, some apps, of course, you'll want location services because that's the only way it works. Other apps, you may not really need it. So that's one thing to check. Other things, like you mentioned, photo, for example, here, as you can see, these 2 apps, Facebook and Instagram, have access or the ability to pretty much access all the photos in our phone when we choose to do it. And that might be needed, especially if you're going to be uploading. But let's say we don't want photo, or only to have selected ones accessible, which it allows, or you can select none, which Instagram will not have any access to. So you may want to go with something like selected, and then select the ones that you want Instagram to only have access to instead of your whole album. So that's another option to do. Now moving on to the next thing you want to review is camera. As you can see here, both Facebook and Instagram have access to our camera. If we use the app and we want to use it to upload stuff, let's say we don't want Facebook to have camera, we can turn it off here and it will not have access to our camera. Next one you will check probably around, it's going to be microphone. Again, you'll see a bunch of apps already. Every time you open the app, it might already request it. Let's say we don't want app to have access. Instagram, for example, we don't want access, we turn that off. So go ahead and review that privacy settings for all of your apps. See if the permissions are correct, because you might blindly enable or give access without realizing an app doesn't really need access, but it has the access. The next common mistake, number 2, now this is going down the list, you want to avoid is going to go be in your settings. Again, this time you're going to click on your Apple account and go look at Find My. Now Find My here allows you to pretty much locate your device if you cannot find your device using the Find My iPhone feature, which again it might seem like you might not want to do that, and if it's turned off you want to turn it on, because we find that a lot of times the Apple users, you might lose your device or misplace it somewhere and you need to know the location service of it. Go ahead and turn that on and have that kind of be able to find it. The other one to probably turn on is send last location, meaning if your phone is critically low or about to die or not going to be able to access location services, you might want to do that. So if you misplace it, you'll be able to find the last location the device was placed and help you quickly find your iPhone without losing it completely. So check the settings. And then number one mistake we see with Apple users, especially iPhones, is not backing up your device. Now, you cannot stretch how much this is important. The backing up your device is important because if you have photos, videos, contact that you don't like to lose, if your phone somehow damages or breaks down or doesn't work or you lost it, if you don't have a backup of it, you will not be able to retrieve that data. Even Apple won't be able to help you. To check if your phone is regularly backed up, if you're using iCloud backup, go ahead and check what of these things are being backed up. For example, we have photos here that's on, that means it's being backed up. We have things like other things here, as you can see, iCloud backup. This is important so that your phone is backed up on this device, so make sure that is turned on. You might not have enough space. If you're buying more storage, you can always get more storage from the Apple, from the iCloud, if 5 isn't enough. Now let's say you don't want to use iCloud storage, but you still want to back it up. The other option you have is actually backing it up on iTunes. If you have a PC or if you have a newer MacBook, you can use iTunes there or Finder as well to back up your device so that you can use it there as well. So really important to do, and it's something you want to do is regularly back up. We say at least every week, if not every month, and if not even that, every couple months, so that if some reason your device is the only Apple device and you don't back it up, everything, your photos, videos, and your contact might be completely lost forever and gone. So you don't want to do that. Make sure you can do that to keep your data. So hopefully this video is helpful, and if this video is helpful, avoiding the 5 mistakes when using an iPhone that will help you in the long run, make sure that like and subscribe button. Of course, there's other things you can avoid. We want to hear from you guys. What you guys found in your experience? Leave a comment in the comment section. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.